Welcome to the Marketing Main podcast, where we talk everything marketing related. I'm your host, Mike Peters. Today we have a guest, Jeana Oldham. She is the host of the Abundance Formula podcast, a social media influencer, and a 4-time national athlete. Welcome, Jeana.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're really happy you're here. You're the first time, episode 1 of the Marketing Main podcast. We are really thrilled that you're here, and based on what I read about you, it's crazy. You do so many things. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. So yes, I am a wife, and my husband and I run our business together. I'm a mother of 2 girls, one that's 3.5 and one that's 10 months old, so they're little bitty. But yeah, my husband and I, we met through the gym. Years back. We've been married. It'll be 8 years this year. So
cool.
We met just as friends. And then we were doing a national level fitness competition. He was doing classic bodybuilding and I was doing bikini. And so we were on the same team. So we were on that trip together. I was living in California at that time in grad school. And he was here. But that's when we kind of had our spark and things kind of took off from there. So he and I, when we got married, had separate fitness businesses. I had a studio and he had his own. And then, of course, when we got married, we just blended it together and we called it Oldham Strong.
Oh, so a physical studio, like a...
Yeah, so I had a small studio space, and then he was working out of another gym, had his own business, but was renting from another facility. Mm-hmm. And so then when we got married, I kind of moved to his side of town. And so then we blended it together. And it worked out well because out when I was in California, I was so busy in graduate school. I'm also a practitioner. And so I build and design prosthetic limbs and orthotic devices for people too. Mm-hmm. So I was out there in school for that. And so when I was so busy in school, I created online personal training so that I could still train people, but not have to put as much physical time in, which was cool because my husband definitely was all about the in-person stuff. And so it was cool when we got married, we blended to kind of up-level our business in that way that when we had in-person and online training, and we kind of really took it off from there. So we got married, called it Oldham Strong, and so now we offer in-person and online personal training. And then both of us have always loved personal development because anybody that's had a fitness goal, it's made or broken by your mindset and your why behind why you're doing it and all of that stuff. And so we always loved that. And then as a practitioner, I've seen over 30,000 patients that I've done personal development work with because the people I see, the children I see, the parents I see, they're not just getting a device and walking out. This is like they have to choose what kind of life they want, and are they going to embrace this prosthetic that they're taking to not try to be their old self, but create a new self that can be just as valuable and just as important and just as impactful. So we wanted to bring that into our version of bringing fitness to people, overall whole person health. So then that kind of launched into, I wanted to create a podcast because we knew we wanted to do some more of this personal development business stuff. But since our audience was very much fitness, competition, national athlete kind of based, we needed to kind of shift them to understand that these are one and the same. So we're not just going to lose that audience. We needed them to blend. And so I thought this podcast could transition people to see how everything's all connected, whatever their goals are. So I called it the Abundance Formula podcast because abundance is something that when you talk to people in conversations like this, anyone that's successful and abundant, I knew in these conversations through the questions I would ask, the common formula would be revealed as you listen to what are these people, what are the common actions, thought patterns, and principles that these people live by, whether they're super successful in business or they're maybe the average everyday person, but live life to the fullest no matter their circumstance. So that's how the podcast was born. And we do events as well. We've got one in November for a women's event. So that's how we got the personal development side to kind of be birthed with the events, workshops, and free products that we provide there. So
that's super cool. So I like the word abundance. Like I live my life like that too. This is my second business, and everyone that comes in is like, yeah, well, we kind of do the same stuff. We're competition. I was like, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I think we're collaborators, right?
Yes.
Because the world is abundant, and there's no way that there isn't enough for both,
right?
Or even more than that, right? So I like that. So tell me a little bit about that. So is it audio only, or is it video and audio?
It's audio and video now. It used to just be audio, but this year we launched to doing it as audio. So we finally kind of regenerated our YouTube channel that there's so much digital promotion available now. It's hard to like give every single thing your all. So like we were kind of in each thing, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but we just it was just too much to do all at once. So he really focuses on Facebook, and I'm really focused on Instagram. And then, but with the podcast, it was always on, iTunes, all that stuff. But so this year I was like, okay, let's have it on YouTube as well. It's definitely more searchable and transcribing and all that stuff. So now we've started our YouTube kind of back, reviving it again, and putting the videos on there.
I mean, that's the way to go. We built a whole company around that. It's like right now, like no one wants to watch vlogs anymore, right? And, blogs, I mean, people still read, of course, but, attention span is going down. Everyone is focused on video right now. Instagram is going away from pictures. Well, not 100% away, but, they're focusing heavily on short content too. It's all video now.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like for us, we were like, okay, we start the video podcast. We have all the, the content for YouTube. We have the content for iTunes. Whoever wants to listen, right? Anchor and all those platforms. But at the same time, we still have, all the short form content that comes out of that, right?
Right.
We call those we call them smart snippets because, the likelihood that someone in a conversation like that says something smart, for like, it's very high that happens 3 to 4 times a podcast in an hour, I would say. So you have all those extra content and you don't have to really do anything for it because, as you know for yourself, creating content is very time consuming.
Right. It's scalable. It's great to have something that's scalable. You do the one thing once and it can be repurposed multiple times to get more views, expand the audience, all for the same initial effort of doing this by recording it for audio, video. It can be transcribed. And then all the people, whether they want to read it, watch it, hear it, all of them can partake in that, which
Correct.
is so
There's
cool.
content for everyone in every situation, right? Not everyone can watch a video when they're at work, but listening is not a problem in most cases. Driving a car, right?
Right.
What do you want to do? Like watch a video? That's not healthy, but the podcast will do that. You have so many different ways of distributing your content. It's just awesome. And I mean, a lot of people pivot to that away from their vlogging because no one watches anymore. Everything, numbers go down. And then, I mean, in your case, you do this as like a full-time business, correct?
Yes, we have. Yeah. So at the moment when I had our first child in 2018, I backed off doing the practitioner stuff to part-time, which was perfect because I not only wanted to, I love that my practitioner job and all of that stuff, but then of course I love like our actual own business. And so it was perfect because I could not only be with my kids more, but then continue growing our own business, which my husband does it full-time. I'm kind of doing it. Well, it feels pretty much full-time. I kind of handle mainly the online things. Okay. He does the in-person stuff, which is perfect for us in our circumstance because then he can spend the full-time in-person time, and then I can do the online digital things in all the spaces that I want and need to and plan my own schedule to be with the kids when they're awake and, schedule my time accordingly, which is cool for especially parents or moms to know that you can still build a successful business and not you just have to be smart about it and think about your time and what kind of product you're producing. And especially with the availability of digital products now, you can really create an amazing business and still get to play with your kids and just plan it accordingly. I get up early at like 5 a.m. before my kids are pretty much up at 7 or 7:30 and have like 2.5 hours of work I can do creating content, recording podcasts, if they're solo episodes, obviously not other people, but for that early time. But creating what I need to create for our business, and then I do it on their next like midday nap, and then I'll do it in the evening and set, you can kind of schedule your own thing, and it's cool that that's available with technology today.
Well, wait until they're older because, they're not going to nap anymore.
Well, exactly.
That's like,
but then they'll be in school.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
Yes, normally, yes. So we also have kids. Like my wife homeschools the kids, so for her, there's no no school. She's with them all the time, So I get it. Like when they're smaller, you have the time there. It's easier to handle. Everyone thinks like it's a lot of work when they're little. But once you have older kids, you know.
Now you're running around to volleyball and all that stuff or whatever it may be.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's a lot of work. And yes, the online route is like still available. But it's still time consuming.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It all takes time. And especially if your parents, like right now, my husband's got the kids, like you coordinate, you work together, especially if you're both entrepreneurs. for each, you kind of get together and you're like, all right, what do you need to accomplish today? What do I need to accomplish today? Okay, I've got the kids from here to here, so you can hammer that out. Then I need this time block, and then when I get home, he's got another time block, and so you get on the seat. You're on the same team, and depending on what phase of life they're in, that schedule's going to shift. And that's when you're an entrepreneur, that's you're going to be the king or queen of pivot.
Yeah.
That's what you've got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, it's like, for me, it's like I started my first business here in the United States is as a freelancer, right? I did write software for the automotive industry. So, machinery and stuff like that. I was always gone.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, hey, we help each other out or anything. It was all on her with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then the work was all on me because I was traveling, like I was all over the place. Until I, leverage other people to work for me. And then that way I got more time for family again. Now we're building this, so I'm a little bit low on time right now, but usually it's like, okay, we can get into a situation where both can have some free time, and because I leverage the other people, because I still have physical businesses, right? So, but I want to have also digital products within the companies, and that's what we're working on right now. But I absolutely understand. So what would you say, like, how many hours a week do you spend on like content creating?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'd say let's see. I'd probably say I try to dedicate like once a week, but it can take a few hours, you know what I mean, to like get what I need for the week. That's how it's ideal. Sometimes I don't maybe get that. Something happens, the kids get sick, and like your week's thrown off. So then I feel like I plug in, it takes like 30 minutes, like every other hour in a whole day to get it. It's hard to say, but I'd say, I mean, if you were to sit down and concentrate for the week, it could take a good 3 hours for the whole week of all the things. Like now if we're counting also like the podcast, now I still edit my own podcasts. So I'd say it takes between 30 minutes to an hour for the interview, and then it'll take me maybe 20 to 30 minutes to edit if it's with a guest. And that's for the audio, and then I'll create the video. And so it can be a few hours or a couple hours for just the podcast, but that's once a week. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely it's something that when you get to the level you want to start to outsource it, that's something to outsource. If that's not your favorite part, I like to edit, but my plan will be eventually to hand that off to somebody else to do that. And I like to be the one like thinking of getting the people doing the networking. That's not my favorite place, but when you're building something to a certain level, you kind of choose between when you want to do that. We're probably close to being able to do that. But at the moment, it's still kind of us doing all of those particular things. But yeah, it can take quite a bit of time.
So you, on Instagram, so you're heavily involved on Instagram, you said, right? You have a YouTube channel, for the podcast. So what's your post schedule on like Instagram? How often do you post, a day or a week, or how does that look?
I try when I'm really on it, which I was really on it before I had our second child, which was in October of just this past year of 2021. So prior to that, I was really building it on my personal Instagram. And so I was posting once a day, and, you have to kind of play with it to see when your traffic is. And then of course the hard part with social media stuff is that they'll change the algorithm. Then you kind of have to re-go to the drawing board to see where you're at again. But say you play with posting at different times of the day and seeing what times of the day people are coming to your page. So for me, it tended to be like around lunchtime, so between noon and 1. And you can poll your audience. That's what I would do if I started to see things change a little bit, because that's what I was finding when I started getting back to being really consistent after having Sailor and getting my head back on straight after like that newborn phase. Is like my audience was coming at a different time of day than they were. So you take a poll and say, hey, when are y'all on? Are you guys on and looking at it before you go to work? Are you on your lunch break? Or is it, before or after dinner? You kind of can figure out from your audience when they're on. So say it's 1 o'clock or something like that. So then that's when I would try to post every day is 1 o'clock. Right now I probably do good to do every other day. Just it takes a groove, especially when, as you know, you've got kids. And so it's like takes a new groove of figuring out how to do that. And when I'm really on it, I'll prep it the night before. So I'll pick what the picture is and, what the content's going to be, or write up what it's going to be, and do my photo editing. And then the next day I'll have it posted. You can time all of that. You can have it auto post and do that too.
Yeah, we'll do that too.
So that's a great way to, once you've got what you want, whether it's for the week or the day
Are
before
you
how to do it.
using a personal Instagram account or a professional business?
I have a creator's account because
Okay.
I had found with Instagram, the business account, it was limiting features for some reason. And so, of course, now everybody has the swipe up, but it was like limiting things and it was changing what music I could even choose.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
good.
weird. I'm not sure if that was a fluke or what, but when I had asked other influencers, like, what were they using? They said, yeah, the business account was limiting them, but the creator account was not.
Oh, okay.
So I switched it to a creator account and it had all the things that business had as far as letting you know, like the peaks and
Yeah,
how your
like the
performance
analytics and
is,
stuff.
all the analytics, but yet it's like you were just like free to do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
was
Well,
cool.
they limit you when it comes to, because a lot of this the posting of music of published music is copyrighted, right? So as a private person, you are not pursuing to make money out of that. So they let you do that and let you get away with it. But if you do that as a business, then they assume that you want to make in one form or shape want to make money out of it. So they limit that, and you cannot use everything. Or I don't think you could like use music on stories at all for a while.
Yeah, and for a while it got really particular about, and I'm still aware, I still have to watch out for it. Just like you could be at a restaurant and they've got music for the restaurant and you're just videoing your friends because you're out to eat together, and it would ban that from being posted because the music that was in it was copyrighted.
Yeah.
They'd be like, nope, you're trying to illegally use it. And you're like,
I have that very often. So I have a YouTube channel where I cater to Germans in Germany, and we do they like to watch me like going to the grocery store, going to I don't know Home Depot or whatever. So I'm not judging anyone doing that, but you go through those malls, right? They have the music on.
Yeah.
One video in particular where I didn't realize I was standing and looking for like bowls, and there was music playing, Christmas music in the background, and it got copyrighted.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, I had to take it off. Otherwise, monetization is gone.
Right.
So that was on YouTube. That's a little bit more strict than I think the Instagram stuff.
Okay.
Everything that you use on YouTube Shorts, for example, when you use one of those sounds where there is copyright music in there, they demonetize automatically. You can still use it, but you cannot monetize it. So, I mean, it makes sense. Those artists, they put a lot of work in it to publish and everything. If you want to use their music, get a license.
Right.
Get it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where if you're going to do whatever like input or digital space you're looking at kind of growing, which I do recommend kind of doing it one thing at a time. Because as we were just talking about, there's so much per platform you're focused on to learn. So if you're really going to master one thing, or if you're going to be a master of any of them, it takes kind of focusing on one and like becoming a master of that. And so like doing whether it's free or paid webinars from all the different social media people that there are to teach you how to really master Instagram or to teach you to master YouTube or whatever, so that then you can get a groove going to build whatever it is that you've got. It can help to just kind of pick one, because otherwise it can get to be so many, and it may look cool to say you have a bunch, but like if you're like not great in any of them, then people are like, I'd rather you just have one and then be a thought leader in that one.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's not only that. It's like everything that comes with it, right? How do you adjust the gear, right? Are you a photographer? That's like for Instagram, where for a long, long time it was photo only. They were like, well, it doesn't matter how good your photos are, we just give you filters, right? But now that video becomes more and more, predominant everywhere. It doesn't matter what platform, right? Everyone has now a short feature. TikTok started with that, then Instagram and Facebook went that route, and now YouTube has the same. And it's you have to learn video now in order to be still relevant. And a lot of people do it with their phones, and that's fine. But like the real good stuff that you see nowadays, and they get better and better by the minute. You have to learn those skills for a long, long time before this is like, getting you anywhere. That's, I mean, a lot of people like underestimate how much work goes into this. Not only making the content, but also what you just said, learn the platform, learn the gear and all that kind of stuff. That's very, very important and a lot of time.
Yeah. But go for it, because you can totally learn it. Like I would not I would classify my brother as the like tech person, the naturally mathematical tech person. I'm the people person, but here I am with a podcast that I've figured out how to edit and do all the things and figured out what mic, and just ask questions. Kind of going back to where you'd brought up before, a lot of people are viewing other people in a similar industry as competitors and, to kind of want to box you out kind of thing. But that's just obviously a totally a lack mentality mindset, not
Yep.
the abundant
Yep.
mindset. And so like to build all that I've got as far as the podcast gear and what to get, like I asked other podcasters and I asked other like people of influence and they were like, yeah, this is what we use. And everybody just freely shared information. And so you feel so blessed by them doing that. You do it for the next person. You do it to the next one. Then you're like, hey, did you get your podcast running? Hey, let's trade podcasts. You want to come on? Yeah, I'll come on. You want to come on mine? And when you actually aren't in competition, you're in collaboration. Not only do you up-level each other, but you expand both your audiences. And one thing like that we'll talk about in my event that's in November is it's kind of focused on helping people clarify their calling and step into it and believe they can do it. And a lot of people don't because they're like, well, too many people are already doing that thing, whatever it is they feel a nudge to do.
It's always the case, no matter what you're talking about. No matter what business, everyone is like, oh, it's too late. Don't do YouTube anymore. Everyone is there already. You're never going to grow. I don't believe in that.
No.
I think it's never too late to jump on something where now you have proof of concept, right?
Right. And so many every single person has a whole different experience and a whole different life. And even if we were to talk about the same thing, it's going to be heard completely differently. It's going to be said completely different. And there's going to be people that when you say it are going to be like, man, that was so powerful. And if I said it, it maybe didn't land the same, but in the same vice versa. So it's like you can totally say even the same message, but you bringing that message is a whole new message.
Right.
So don't shy away from stepping into podcasting or whatever it may be that you feel called to do because so many other people are already doing it because they're not you. And somebody out there needs you to step into that thing so that you can change their life and create that ripple effect.
Oh, this is great. I love what you just said. This is exactly, we talked about that. The repurposing of ideas, right? Is that stealing? Well, I don't know. Maybe I have a different perspective on that, right? So why can I not like talk about the same stuff? I can do that.
Right.
I have a very different upbringing. I come from a different place. Why can I not do this very same thing someone else already did? Just giving my take, my personality. I have a different audience than those people. Maybe like what you just said, I am able to touch someone that another person couldn't. So and change that person's life. Because at the end, isn't it always about bringing value to the table for your audiences, either with like them learning something or just make them feel good about themselves, right?
Right.
That's all it is. Like if you can't convey that, then that's where people, if you have nothing to give, that's it, right? If you go online on a podcast, have a podcast to get something, never going to get anything.
Right.
Yeah? If you have nothing to give, you will never receive anything.
Yeah, you serve your way to success. That's the only way around it. And so serving your way to success, when other people in a similar industry ask you a question or want to pick your brain or whatever it is, like be willing to help those people, because if you wanted to ask somebody else, you'd want them to help you, because the goal is to make the world a better place and to serve as many people as we can. And if I don't have your audience, I want to help you serve them if I can any better, and the same vice versa. And so that's more like you're saying, that lack mentality or a selfish mentality of, needing to get your mind shift right to say, like, if you've hit a block in growing, kind of reassess and say, hey, have I been growing for me? Am I growing for others? Am I actually just in my own kind of accidental or purposeful selfish pursuit? Or am I just needing a mindset shift to say, okay, the goal is ultimately to make the world a better place because I woke up today. So how can I do that? Is it by helping this person that's in the same industry as me, and I can help them grow, because then that's going to impact other people, and I'm part of that, and that's really cool. Whether I get the credit or not, it is helping people. Or if you're just focused on you and like wanting all the credit, you're just going to be limited that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People feel that too. They're just like, hey, that person's not in it for me; they're in it for them, and they won't be attracted to that.
Well, absolutely. So how was that saying? Like integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching. That's like that nails it. That's just so powerful. Like just do it. Do it not for yourself. Do it for someone else. I have a YouTube channel where, like I said, I cater to Germans. I got over here as an expat. I made a lot of mistakes. I let my former employer kind of screw me over when it came to pay, and the whole credit score system over here, you're pretty limited. If you come over here as a 35-year-old man, you should be, settled already And well, everyone treats you like an 18-year-old because you have no credit. You're basically non-existent. I couldn't find an apartment in the beginning because no credit history, no credit report. Like the first few months, even with the social security number, when they made background checks, I was non-existent. So they were like, well, you're not real. Your number is not real, or you're not real. I had to jump through hoops like crazy, bring like letters from my employer and everything. There was no help from them other than that letter. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of interest still in Germany or Switzerland or other German-speaking countries where they still want to come over, right? They have the same problems. No one tells them. Well, $50,000 over here is not that much money, right? Especially if they send you into like a metropolitan area like Chicago, where they sent me. It's like, okay, I feel like screwed. I'm going online now and telling other people what to expect, how expensive it is, and all that kind of stuff that no one told me, for free. This is like, I'll help you. People watch it. A lot of people are already better off because they watch those videos. I get like emails and phone calls all the time. I'm a very public person also because I have businesses where my phone number is there. So people just text me, right? Openly, WhatsApp, iMessage, whatever, and tell me, hey, because I used your tips there, I'm now making $20,000 more because I had, the backup that area where I'm moving, it's so expensive. What you want to pay me will bring me like underneath the poverty line. So I feel good about myself just because of that.
Yeah.
I helped someone just because I did not want other people to have the same problems that I have or had, when I came over here 7 years ago. That's like, for me, that's a huge benefit. Feels way better than money.
Right, exactly.
That's my opinion. So.
Yeah. And that free value you provide is going to come back to help you even in the long run, because all the free value that you give like that that's what creates you as a thought leader for people to even buy something you ever, because you were giving value that they were, especially people that don't know you at all, they learn to know, like, trust, then buy from you. Yep. That's something you learn. So especially through, online products or digital availability, whether it's social media, YouTube, whatever, someone's got to get to know you first, like you, and trust you. And all that's going to be from just being yourself and giving the free value that you can give with your gifts and doing it just because you care. And that's what makes somebody bond to you and feel like they know you and like they understand you and you get them. And then when you decide to come out with something and you just, present it to who's your audience, they're going to be like, yes, not only do I just love you and want to support you, but two, I also know your advice is sound. It's valuable. I've used all your free stuff and it's helped me this far. Can't imagine what your monetized stuff's going to be like.
Exactly. It's the same system here.
Yeah.
So when I founded that channel, I was like, okay, I'm going to help people for free, right? But it was from the beginning, like I set it up as a business tool, right? Here's all the stuff for free. It's yours to keep, like rewatch it. I don't care. It will stay free. I will add more stuff to it. But, know that I also have businesses where I do that for money, right? So I help individuals and companies to come to the US. We do a lot of market research and stuff like that. It was my consultancy. And by now, like we already have like customers that send, money that they don't even ask. I established my authority. They know, they looked me up, they found the businesses. It's all real, right? I never hid anything. The thing is that we are blowing this up. We're going from, helping people for free to market research. And now what the next big thing is, we're working with like 4 families already that do have funds. They want to invest in the United States and come over on an investor visa. So done. We buy businesses with them for them. We don't buy them, but we help them buy the businesses. They can come over here on an investor visa. They're happy. We're happy. We made money. We established our authority before. I still have to help most of the people for free. That's,
right.
That's the deal. It's like establish the authority, trust, be real.
Right.
Be authentic. And then I don't think, you're gonna attract the people that click with you regardless if everyone likes you.
Right.
It's like you attract the people that are like you because people can relate to you. If you I talk about like coming to the United States and how I felt when I still was in Germany and that I wanted this so bad. People can relate to that. And then people that are in the process and are looking for help, they can relate to everything else I said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in your case, you're a mom of two, you tell your story, people can relate to that too, if you show them from what I've seen on your Instagram, well, I just had a baby, I go back to the gym, look how I look, you can do that too. It's like people can relate to that. It clicks with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is like the power of social media today.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter the channel.
Right, exactly. Yeah, just whatever one you jive with the best and feel like you understand and is the kind of things you like to post, then do that one and just be you. Yeah, it's way more work to pretend to be something else to try to appeal to all these different people and think it's going to give you a bigger, better audience. And especially if it's related to business, like it doesn't even matter how many followers you have. It's just, are they real and are they buying from you? Like as far as a business side of things. And so it doesn't matter the quantity. It's just the quality of who's following you and the quality of your community. And that's really the most valuable thing. And the way you get that is just being you and showing up in your, most unique self and attract those people, and those people will stay and everybody else can go. That's fine, because the people that are there for you, for the free stuff, for the paid stuff, and are like, you're like behind you, diehard fans. And that's what you want. And that's what you want to be for other people too.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So I have a question. So I do not know anything you put on your list here. You are a practitioner and you said it already a few times. Now tell that stupid German what that means.
No. So I'm a practitioner that specializes in prosthetics and orthotics. So prosthetics would be amputees. So they're missing a limb, whether that was from birth or from a disease or from an accident. Mm-hmm. So multiple different reasons why they could be missing a limb. And so I would see them after they're healed and assess, if say it's their leg that's missing, I would assess their situation. What was their life like before? Now I also see little children too. So, but if it's someone we're able to talk with, then see what their life was before. What do they aim to do? It's. I liked it originally because it's very similar to, say, personal training. Like, what were you doing before? What do you want to achieve? And then I'm going to help create a limb for you that will help you do that. Okay. So from the componentry that I'll choose, if you're someone that's outdoorsy, highly active, you want to work out.
So you're making those?
So we make them at our,
okay.
Yeah. So I would build and design it where I work. We have technicians. So I would write the work order or the design. I order the parts, the type of foot, the type of knee or whatever. I take a cast of them, of their residual leg, and I modify it with plaster, and I create what the socket would be, what mm-hmm. that's going to slide into and attach to the parts. So I do all that side, but they'll put it together for me. They'll put it together, and then I'll fit it to the patient. I teach them how to use it and make all the adjustments and get their walking gait mm-hmm. right and adjust things if anything's uncomfortable. And it's a similar thing to orthotics. Orthotics people mainly think of as just like shoe insoles. But it can be anything from as simple to that is we see kids, babies. I'm our pediatric specialist, so I see a lot of babies that had clubfoot deformities, so their legs are hooked in like this when they're born, and they have to have surgical correction, and then I put them in these casts that help them to grow correctly. And so there's things like that to scoliosis, kids with curved spines, or people who had strokes and they can't pick their foot up, so they're having a lot of falls. So I create a device that picks their foot up for them and helps make them stronger. Okay. And so it's really vast, but why I was attracted to that specific space in medicine was because I'm a coach, like in my soul, a coach and a teacher. And I've always just been good at helping people, cultivating in people the belief that they can do something that maybe they didn't think they could do on their own. And so I help make people believe they can. What is it you want to do? Let's find your why, and then let's do it. I can give you the loving love, and I can give you the tough love. And so, from patients that I see, I had a little girl who is paralyzed from the waist down from a driver who decided he wanted to commit suicide on the highway, and so he targeted their vehicle on their way to school and hit them head on at 90 miles an hour. She's 6, and so she's paralyzed from the chest down, and she's told by all her doctors that she's not going to walk again. But when she came to see me, and I've worked closely with physical therapists too, so her physical therapist came to the visit, and she and I know how we are as a physical therapist and a practitioner, that if this kid has a semblance of hope that she thinks she can do it, we're going to make it happen. Like that, if her mind is in the space to create a miracle, then we can create one. And that's where that kid was. And now she's walking.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of depth of that got my personal development fix of like, okay, is the belief there? It is. Okay, let's harness that. Let's focus it. Let's make micro steps to create the macro wins. And so I get to do that in my practitioner job, and that translates over into all the things we do, whether it's with fitness clients or if it's, this kind of event that I'm doing, like to help people believe they can, and then let's bring it to life. So that's kind of what I do in the medical world.
Well, okay, I understand. And that is also like done as a business, or is this, are you working for someone?
So I work for someone else in that. Yeah.
Okay.
So when I finished graduate school, so the personal training I had always done to kind of work my way through school. And then when we moved back, my husband, that was what he did full time. And so then I had just finished graduate school. I did my residency in what my degree was, and we continued growing that business. And we've just always kind of done it side by side. And then it worked perfect that since he and I had that business, we'd always been building, that's how I was able to not have to go back to work full time at my practitioner job, working for somebody else. I had thought, I had always pictured that I would own my own, business in that realm. But then when I got into it, I didn't feel my entrepreneurial like juices for that particular thing. I love that industry, but it wasn't something I felt like I wanted to go start my own orthotic and prosthetic business.
So it's more the part that you help people there.
Right. I love the work itself, but didn't feel like having my own thing there. I love our own thing we already had and continue to build that. And it works perfect that I'm now part-time, because then I have even more time to continue investing that and growing that.
Understand. All right. Well, now I'm not that dumb anymore.
No.
I was really like, okay.
A lot of people don't know what it is.
So, well, I mean, I know the word practitioner normally only from like nurse practitioner or whatever. Right. So I'm like, okay, so what is it she does? Because, that was very like basically didn't really fit into the rest of what I have here. So I was just, trying to, okay, what exactly is it? So now I know. That's pretty good work that you do there. I think that's helping a lot of people. Impressed. So, and then you came up with like a lot of like digital products also, right? So what exactly did you come up with, and how do they do in times of like video only platforms like Instagram now, where they try to get away from photos as much as possible? How are you utilizing that? And then how do you actually get those? Like, are you selling through stories and swipe ups, or what's?
So I would say for the stuff that we do, so with the training, besides obviously the in-person, but I'd say we'll link that even in with this. So the in-person training, a lot of that is like to getting referrals from success stories we have. People are like, I'm doing this is my results. Somebody sees them at work. They've lost 30 pounds, whatever. What are you doing? And they tell them, okay, I'm training with Kellen in person, And so we get so many referrals for in-person training from that. We've never had to like necessarily put out advertisements for that particular area. We still get clients from Instagram. Yes, would be the next place, Instagram or Facebook, where we are posting transformation photos of our clients, or I'll come on, or Kellen will come on, and we'll talk either with the client, and we'll talk about their transformation if they're willing to do that, and say like their favorite part of it, what they love about training with us, whether it's in person or online. So we have people come on and share testimonies, picture or video. And then people, especially just from us living out a healthy lifestyle, people that follow me know, I had 2 kids, and you post your journey. People love the reality show of you. So a lot of people love, like I have even more traffic through my stories than even say on a post, because people are watching that reality show of my life of, okay, this is where I was right after pregnancy. And then here I worked, they see me show up every day, making time for it somehow, doing it with the kid on my arm or whatever. And then they see the result and they're like, okay, she's living it out. She's implemented. She knows how to do it. Same for my husband. Then they want to trust the investment. So then you figure out what works for them. Is it one of our online products? So online training, you can do it from your own home or your own gym or wherever you need it to be. Or do you want to come see us in person? So the online products, there's full online training, which would be like a custom nutrition plan, custom workouts, custom cardio recommendation, and our coaching 24, basically full-time availability for coaching. And that works for people that maybe don't live near us, or they're busy. They know they won't stick to it if they can't just do it in their own world, especially parents. And it's customized to the length of time they need it to be. So, and if people maybe feel they've got the workout thing down, but they just need a lot of help with food, then we have custom nutrition plans. So then that's kind of harnessed for just people that need food.
Just meal plans?
Just meal plan. Okay. Yeah, the meal planning, how much you need a day for what you need in your day for the goal that you have. And they can still text us things, and it comes with the coaching with that, but it's just food focused. And then if people feel like they got food, but they don't have the workouts, then they can just buy kind of packs of workouts, however many they want. We've got different prices for. And so we'll just write them workouts, and they may do those, and then they'll come back and say, hey, I need some more, and we'll give them some more. But our best, we always tell people, you're going to get the most results for the online training just because I'm in control of all of what you're doing. I know exactly how intense your workouts are. I know exactly what you're eating and that kind of thing. But we have options for people. And then we do, one of our favorite things is corporate wellness. That was something that back when I had my own studio and was working my way through college, I kind of got that. We didn't call it corporate wellness at that time, but I started it with my dad's building. I worked out of his building, a space, and in trade for rent, I was like, let me train your employees, and that'll be kind of our rent trade. And you can, and he had a bunch of tech people. He had an HR company. I was like, and you can kind of watch how your environment changes. And it really up-leveled his work environment for everyone to be not only working out, but the camaraderie that formed with it. And it just really changed his business from doing that. So then we started, once I married my husband, we started collaborating and doing that with other businesses and actually making it like a thing. And so we did that. And then since COVID, now it's something we've made it a virtual thing, which is great for us because now it's more scalable. The video, instead of us going to the facility in person, which is what we were doing and bringing the equipment, now we video the workouts, and they'll be sent out monthly to all the employees that are part of the company.
So they're recorded.
So they're recorded. So yeah,
okay.
Getting back to the digital, it's more a digital thing, which is great because then it can scale easy. More people can join because if they couldn't join at the time it was available, their families can join. So it's like up-leveled the value for it to be a digital thing now. And then we do biweekly Facebook Lives in their particular company's Facebook group so that they can ask them additional questions for more customized, because obviously it's a generalized nutrition plan we give. So
it's more like a Q&A, or is it a workout, a live workout?
Well, so the videos are the workouts. So they'll get 6 workouts per month, and that will be sent out, and they'll get a generalized nutrition plan for if you're a woman or if you're a man. And we have a vegetarian plan as well. And so it's generalized, not specific per person, exactly, all your needs, but it's in general, and it gets people plenty on track. And then we provide the biweekly Q&A so that people can come and they send us questions in ahead of time if they can. And then if we have time, we'll take any live questions. But for particular things that they want to ask related to what they're struggling with. So if they're like, well, I feel like I need a little more help with, snacks. I should always get snacky at this time of day. What do you guys recommend around that? So we'll get anybody can ask, and we'll get as many as we can kind of in a 30-minute segment. And then that gets people some additional info. And sometimes we'll also feature, instead of doing 2 Q&As that month, we'll do 1 Q&A, and the other one is just an educational, like, little seminar on the Facebook. So we're going to talk specifically about nutrition and why we do the things we do. And that gives them educational info. So every month they get educational info on all kinds of things to provide value as well. So that's where we've taken our corporate wellness online product there.
Okay. So that's like catering directly to companies that have like physical, like people working for them physically in their offices.
It could be people from home if it's a benefit to the employees, so the employer is paying for it. It's something that they get to pay for their whoever's working for them. Yeah. But all the people that we have are places that have a physical office space.
And then they do the workouts like in the office.
They'll do their workouts from wherever they want. So at home. Okay. Most people do them at home, or they'll do it at their own gym. There's video options where my husband and I will do the workout live, and you can do it with us, kind of like if you're doing the old school workout video, say. Or we have a PDF version. So if maybe you don't feel like watching it, you just want to have the PDF, and there's a YouTube link with a demonstration of the exercise, and then they'll do it. And if people are doing it that way, we always recommend that they kind of review it the night before so they know what they're doing before they go do their workout. It takes less time. So we have a couple options for people who want to do it live and they need the motivation of doing it with Kellen and I, and hearing my husband, who's like really motivational. 5 more, whatever, they can do that. Or if they just want to read it on the PDF and click the YouTube link if they feel like they need a demonstration, and then they'll do it themselves. And so they can do it from home. They can do it from a gym with their family, whatever time of day works for them. So that's kind of how that works.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, corporate world is always like, now how do I say that? I mean, they have a lot of problems to like keep employees. They want to add benefits to it. And when people hear like benefits, they're always thinking about like health insurance and stuff like that. But it's way more than only that. I mean, I'm a business owner. I have a team. It's very hard to keep people. Nowadays, like we have such big problems when it comes to labor in all levels. It goes from the C-suite all the way down to general labor. We just don't have enough people, and then everyone is competing for the same people. And then, of course, the more benefits you have, the better for them, And like I said, it's not always just health insurance, but I can imagine that a lot of people that have jobs where they can barely move because they're sitting at a desk all day, that is absolutely a benefit. And, most of the people work out anyways, so one way or another. And then when they have a special plan, I can see that. I can see why it's like going
the company culture and the camaraderie is the biggest feedback we get. And we also run challenge. I forgot about that, but we'll feature like a challenge each month, like some little thing that they'll kind of whatever the thing is, we'll maybe create a challenge exercise. See if you can do this by the end of the month, and whoever can do it we'll select someone for a prize, or if it's a transformation challenge or whatever, and people submit their photos and somebody wins. So it gives a little fun, like competitiveness, or people to post or whatever it is.
It's like team building.
Like the camaraderie. People love that stuff. And it wakes people up, especially if they're sedentary at their work, to know that they have something exciting like that going on.
Okay. Well, interesting. So one more point actually that I have here on my list. So you're also a motivational speaker, correct? So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that and like how that came to be. I mean, is this all about the fitness, or is it just also about business? Or tell me a little bit about that.
We do both. So it definitely started with fitness because that's kind of how people originally always knew us, as the fitness people.
Yeah.
So we would do speaking gigs for companies. A lot of the companies get there. People they know that they'll get better work out of their people if they're healthier. And so they would have us come, and we'd be the featured segment for the health and wellness side of things. And some of those, they would want us to emphasize more mental health as opposed to physical health sometimes too. So they'd shift that. So we did a lot of those in the beginning. And then now, as we have a podcast, we get asked more to do other things that are just, motivation based. Inspiration, some business stuff. My husband does a lot of even consults, just even individual consults for business growth of other fitness companies. Like, how do you do it? And so he speaks on business and those kinds of things too. Been on a lot of other podcasts as well, talking about anything from business, but a lot of it's inspiration, motivation. When I polled my audience from like, what do you want to see from us? And it's health and fitness, and then inspiration, motivation stuff. So we get asked for speaking on both of those things now.
Okay.
And when we talked about fitness before, we kind of were able to bridge into doing both by showing people the connection between both. Because again, a lot of people are like, why aren't I getting my goal? And that's something we would address in those talks that we would do, is a lot of times it's your mindset. So then that's how we would get asked back then to like, well, let's talk about the mindset side of it. Or retreats. There's women's retreats and things like that I get asked to as well. So that's fun.
Okay. So pretty much like niching down all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So would you say, so your main thing is like, and that's like your own channel, right? Is the Instagram channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said your husband's main focus is on Facebook for his
Mm-hmm.
Physical training business, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the digital products for the corporate world, as well as like the speaking gigs and the podcast. So when we look in the future, right? Like social media is changing constantly. We have new platforms popping up. Sometimes we lose some. What would you say? Like, do you think like Instagram is still around in 10 years?
I'd say probably so, but I guess. See, I haven't even branched into TikTok yet, just because I don't know. It makes me a little bit nervous. I don't know. I've heard all kinds of stuff about TikTok, so I haven't branched there yet. But I'd say it kind of depends on what people are doing. I feel like Instagram will remain longer than Facebook. I don't know, a lot of people that I know kind of don't do Facebook anymore. They're more on Instagram and TikTok. They like TikTok for short snippets. It 10 years though, that's a long time. So it's like, I definitely feel like it'll be here for 5. It may be close to phasing out at 10, and it may shift more just to like TikTok kind of stuff, especially as other platforms, they realize the others aren't going away till they add what that platform had on theirs, if that makes sense. So it's like Instagram used to be like limited amount of words in the photos, you know?
Right.
And so then people were sticking to Facebook. So like, I have more to say than just this short snippet.
I mean, like, okay, so it's also kind of like a generational thing, right?
Right.
So I'm like 42 right now. So my generation and older, they're all on Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so a lot of businesses are on Facebook. Just because of that, I wanted to delete Facebook a few times because I was just like fed up with like terms and conditions and all that kind of stuff when I didn't use it for my business. But then I was like, oh, wait a second. I have the business pages. If I delete my account, I don't have access to that anymore. So I didn't, you know, I didn't really make money from Facebook in my business. We do industrial automation, right? And that in my main business. So the deal was like, well, I do not really have to be on Facebook. I don't put ads there. I'm not doing anything. But what it really did for me is like, because we're in a really crowded space, right? Industrial automation, everyone does the same. You know, the services are the same. So ranking on Google with that kind of stuff almost impossible, because nowadays, I mean, go on Google and Google anything. The first like half page is like ads, right?
Yeah.
And everything else after that is like whoever is like the biggest in the space, or, you know, sometimes doesn't even have anything to do with that. So, but what it does when someone Googles my name or someone Googles my business's name, my Facebook page is top, like it's the top, you know, the top ranking site there, because Facebook ranks totally different than, you know, any just website that you can create, right?
Right.
So unless you're like, you know, you're doing your own name, you know, as a website and then, you know, use it over and over again, then you might rank. But, you know, generally speaking, you know, you rank then because no one puts ads out with your name, well, except maybe yourself. But then, you know, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all those places, they rank you way higher than that.
Yeah.
And so I kept it. But then when I see how many people make money on Facebook, I think it's still relevant. I don't see that so much. I mean, people make money on Instagram too, but not directly. It's more indirectly. It's kind of like Facebook has the ability, kind of like Google, to be, you know, you have your own business page that is more okay, this is a landing page. Here's everything about the business. There's posts also, but there's also like a button, call to action, call me, whatever.
It's way easier to see. It's
right.
That's where our Facebook that's bigger is the Oldham Strong. Yeah, the business page. But on Instagram, it's my personal page. Because, for business stuff, it just was like, it was clearer on Facebook, you know, so people would kind of more follow like my personal Instagram for all of the things. But on Facebook, it's, like very clearly and so easy. Like I said, people can leave their reviews and all the things. It's just so easy. Yes, on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's what I see. So the other thing is also that where I was going with that question was, it's just like, okay, so if Instagram would go away right now, like, how would that affect your business?
Well, I'd say luckily, because we do have a really great website, which my brother put controls for us. So he is my tech guy. But so we have a great website, and because we are so present physically in like the community and in person, hosting events, being at events, networking in that way. And the podcast is not related to social media. That's on, Instagram, YouTube, or not Instagram, iTunes, all those places, and YouTube. There's still ways for people to be in contact with us, meet us, connect with us, and message us. And we have a blog that we used to have. We're about to relaunch it. But blogs are great because they are your own property, again, separate from Instagram. No one can take that. Yep. So we do keep that up to date once it relaunches, because that's your own. Again, it's linked to our website. So we have so many other avenues that generate the income that we need to, especially the events and in-person things like that, where people get to experience you. Instagram's just another way that people even farther away that can't experience you for a while, if they don't want to, travel that far, can do so and maybe learn about you. But luckily we show up live so many places. Even if we're going to somebody else's personal development event, those are huge for me for networking, to connect with other people and get contact and for actual numbers for people, and then getting access to their contact people. And collaborations are so huge, like whether it's for podcasting or events. This whole thing, again, not thinking of a lack mentality, people in your industry, and you're thinking about even just money making, connecting and staying in touch with other people doing what you're doing. If you're providing an equal trade of value, can access all of each other's people. And that's kind of how Instagram and all that works, is just accessing other people's networks. And you can do that in person, but you got to be bold enough and like get out there and make connections, which can be hard for some people, but it's super, super important.
I see it the same way. Your network is your net worth at the end. And I think also what this does, especially the podcast part, is that, it's not only that you're utilizing or like you get, like brought in front of someone else's audience, it's also that, you make a connection personally with the person, doing the podcast or your guest or whatever. So I think it's very important, if you want to grow your wealth, you have to grow your network. That's that's the only way to go. We are very heavily involved on LinkedIn. I was like, last year, a little bit over a year ago, we started, heavily like focusing on LinkedIn. So I went from like 300 connections back then to now, I think over 7,000 and growing. We're trying to like get the word out for us in the industrial automation world, in the manufacturing world. So far that we are, known everywhere. We're opening up another branch in Europe this year. It's just exponentially just through networking. And like I said, LinkedIn, in my opinion, is like totally underrated, because it's way more personal on LinkedIn to have a connection there, because it's like, okay, so this person is in business, does X, right? This person is in business, does Y. So you know exactly where to put them, in your realm of networks, and they can help you, because if you post something, when I post something on LinkedIn, it's about, hey, I'm looking for an engineer. Can someone help me out? Like I get like, I don't know, tons of emails. It's like, hey, yes, we do have engineers available. What exactly do you need? Can we work together? Collaboration, right? That's like blowing up my business like crazy right now. That's awesome. And that's like, in my opinion, way more like real than, for me at least, than Instagram, for example, where I don't know that they're all on there too, right? All of the same people, they're probably on Instagram too, but I don't think that someone would do industrial business with me based on a Instagram DM.
Right.
All right. So that's a little bit, gives it a little bit of different taste there, right?
Yeah.
But
you weed out who's actually like, who wants business and who's just here for social, like.
Right. It's like, I mean, LinkedIn is not Facebook, right? Even though they both blue, you know, but like LinkedIn is not Facebook, and I try to not use it like that. There's nothing private is on LinkedIn. It's all business, what I do, where I do it, with whom I do it, collaboration. Like you said, like, I like this title, Abundance Formula Podcast. This is awesome. This is like just exactly the way, I do business. I love it. It's just perfect. Awesome. So what type of guests do you have on those podcasts?
We have everything from definitely like super highly successful people in business, or we have people, I like having a variety, like, so super successful people in business from like Elena Cardone, and I've had celebrities like Ben Higgins from The Bachelor. I've had your average ordinary person, but who, like one of my friends that I grew up with in high school that had a brain tumor, and she's had all these crazy things that have happened to her, yet she lives life more fully than so many people I know. And so like, I want to show people like, what is this person? How are they wired? Because you can just see from high level in one view of it to high level in another view of it. All these people have so much wisdom to give. So I kind of try to find people that I feel are living an abundant life. And even when I look at successful people, there's people who are successful but not abundant.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
So I look for people that have that, not that lack mentality, that abundance mentality. And then I have a motherhood segment, because for mothers as well, and parents, but since I'm a mom, so I have a friend of mine who comes on as a co-host for a abundant motherhood segment, where we specifically talk about bringing more abundance into the motherhood journey and just share real life funny things, our mom fails, our wins, and all that stuff. So I try to bring everything from all spectrum, but the people who follow it are definitely people that are looking to up-level their life, and just feel more fulfilled. And whether that's in their health, mindset, business, So it's kind of those few genres of, there is fitness based things because it's all connected. My vision when I created it was there's several pillars to abundance. There's like, your mind, body, soul, and purpose. So I try to kind of bounce the topics and who's coming on that kind of shift in those four things. Sometimes we're focusing on body, mind, soul, and your purpose. What are you here for? And so I kind of float between those and put guests or solo episodes or whatever to kind of float between those four pillars. And that formula, those breadcrumbs of living an abundant life are so interesting to hear. If you listen straight through to all the things, you'll hear commonalities amongst everybody and what they do, which is my favorite part.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The thing is this, like, I see it the same way with the abundance. I just could do better on the body part, I think. Like,
well, and nothing's always in perfect balance. That's where it's more like raising awareness that, like, here's some of the main like what I feel are some of the main areas. And then if you're starting to feel depleted somehow, you can kind of narrow down which area it's in. Okay, maybe I need to put a little more into my body. Maybe I need to see what am I eating? What am I drinking? Am I giving myself enough self-care? And when you bring that back up to par, these other areas are going to go up too. And so it kind of ebbs and flows on your phase of life as to which one's maybe getting a little more attention and which one's not. And so kind of raising awareness, okay, I need to help this one along a little more and give it a little more love and kind of rotate. It's always an ebb and flow for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for being on here. There was a lot of information for us, and I, can only say thank you for coming, and all the best for you, for your family, for your businesses, and
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be the first episode. Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
You broke it in here. The podcast room is like, that's really, really a big deal to us. We're going to have tons of other podcasts, coming up next week. And then we have grand opening next week on the 1st, where you and your husband, you're invited. Bring the kids. Yeah. We'll bring the kids too. Yeah. We're going to have ice cream in front of the building. We have a food truck. There's a food and drinks for the guests too. And you're welcome to be here with us. No problem. On the 1st, we do ribbon cutting at 1, and then the whole deal is going to go on until 6 p.m.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.